believe that if we can start to work on and help that entrepreneur be stronger and help their family be stronger, help their team be stronger, in doing that, their whole community will get stronger and it'll have a positive impact. And I believe that the world is thirsty for this kind of information.
All this was really kind of birthed out of the idea to support your upcoming book,
Mhm.
right? This was really the mission. Was like, all right, John, you got a book coming out. What can we do quickest, most powerful, impactful to get the word out there for your book? So let's talk a little bit about the structure of the playlist and when somebody navigating them. How have you architect that to best reflect that message?
The channel is a cousin of the book. It's not a replica because the channel gives us the ability to talk about things so much more in depth than the book does. So the book has to be consumable in a few hours. That I mean, there's limits to a book. We're going more in depth on that. And so if somebody reads the book, great. If they watch the channel, great. But if they read the book and watch the channel, they're going to be able to have a powerful connection because they'll understand the why of a lot of things that maybe they would have otherwise missed.
All right, so John, let's talk about this user experience. I just want to, get your take on how this is structured and what you're trying to provide to the audience, right? So the description here on the channel, and I'm just going to read some of this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says this channel is for high achievers who are finding success but losing a bit of themselves in the process. We help restore the clarity, courage, and connection entrepreneurs need to lead better. I guess let's just start there. I mean, does that capture what you're trying to accomplish with the channel?
Well, that's the person, right? We're saying, who are we targeting? And then remember, when you have a target, you're also targeting what's around them.
Mm-hmm.
So the center for us is the high achiever. And let's just say entrepreneurs, they carry a heavy load. And so in so many ways, they are high achievers. And then now that they're doing that, a lot of expectations and things change on them.
Mm-hmm.
And it puts them in these positions where it's very easy to lose themselves. But said simply, just look at how many entrepreneur families get broken up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's already rampant throughout society, but look at how many of them. And so many people are chasing the financial success that a lot of entrepreneurs have,
Mm-hmm.
yet their marriages are breaking down at an even higher clip than typical society.
Mm-hmm.
Why? High achievers who are kind of losing themselves. You know it's happening, even if you haven't acknowledged it to yourself. You can kind of feel it. You're making decisions out of guilt or obligation or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but you're not choosing. You're not maintaining your free will, and you're using excuses like, well, I have to do this or I have to do that, and well, you're the one that is establishing that you have to,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you got to think about those decisions a bit. And so I believe that by arming them with some better insights and maybe more prudence, and as well as strengthening the argument from the other person's side, especially spouse's side,
Mm-hmm.
around that person, will help that person be more themselves.
Hmm.
And if they're more themselves, everything they plug into will be better.
Hmm. So I guess piggyback on that, I'm just going to continue. Society celebrates the grind. This is something we talk about all the time. The spouse does not. This is again off the description from the YouTube channel. We speak to both the entrepreneur carrying the storm and the family who feels its weight. While most voices push for more success, we speak for accomplishment with inner peace.
Yes. Well, so accomplishment, but not being yourself. How's that going to feel?
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea there is we want you to enjoy whatever it is that you accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be better enjoyed in a peaceful environment. And peaceful meaning in order. Those are synonyms that people often miss. But peace, things, when the system is in order,
Mm-hmm.
right, it's peaceful, it functions as it should. When it's not in order, it's not at peace,
Mm-hmm.
it's disrupted. And so the idea here is that we want to drive for that inner peace. And if we want to be more peaceful, we actually have to become much stronger.
Hmm.
We're going to be peaceful by being stronger. We have to be ourselves. That's when we're at our strongest.
All right, so I want to start off by breaking down these playlists. And let's start with inside the entrepreneurial family, overcoming the mental storm. You say ambition should not cost your home.
Your ambition should not cost you your family, should not cost you your home. Too many times it does. And there's a lot of marriages that are under a lot of pressure. And what looks like the business is operating well and there's a lot of success there, there's a lot of cracks under the surface. And our whole idea here is to get the two sides to communicate a lot stronger and better. We want to strengthen the argument from both sides so that they work together as a family to make the best decisions for the family.
All right, so tell me, how do you calm the storm?
Well, basically, it's a matter of getting your hands, heart, and mind to all work together.
Mhm.
And when those things are functioning as one, you have the order that you need. You're more at peace, and you're better connected to everything that you're a part of.
Or what do you do when you see things drifting apart? Like, let's say it's not aligned and you're trying to, build this. Like, what do you do once you see it drifting apart?
Well, we have to be solid as ourselves. So we have to really get dialed in on ourselves and like our core identity. And so we created a manifesto and other pieces to help someone do that. But once you know your definition of a good person and you're living that one, you're living like that. You're installing that in every element of your life.
Mhm.
And so when it comes to the family, your priorities in life involve your loved ones.
Mhm.
They're part of your life. They're some of the best parts of your life, and so getting them to be integrated into that is important. And so what we found is that there's a lot of disconnection that happens in pursuit of building a business that oftentimes the person forgets about themselves. And then in there, there's an adaptation that happens to the family. So the family is accommodating the absence of the entrepreneur, and then some resentment can build there as well. And there's a lot of tension that develops. And so if the family can function the way that the leaders of the family, the husband and wife, want it to function, if they can get that to be in alignment,
Mhm.
basically where everyone's hands, heart, and mind are working together, that'll be a more peaceful home, and that's gonna make that home stronger. And so that's what we're trying to do with this playlist.
I've heard you say this before. The idea that most of the arguments in an entrepreneurial relationship are not around money or time, which I find an interesting, take. So,
Mhm.
what I guess explain that to me a little bit deeper.
Well, if we get down to what really makes us, what's at the root of the issue? So we all want money, we all want time, we
Mhm.
need those things, but it's how we feel. So there's plenty of people that have no money that are absolutely happy, joyful, peaceful. And so to have money and not have that, or which version would you pick? I believe that a lot of people who have the money would say he had much rather have the peaceful life. I will trade the benefits of this money for the benefits of that life.
Mhm.
And I think that's just an interesting perspective for more people to know. So what might appear like it's time or other things like that, the real driver for people is to live in a way that they're comfortable in being themselves, comfortable in their own home,
Mhm.
feeling welcome there. And there's that tension that can kind of get in the way of that.
So at the root of this playlist, would you say peace is the biggest takeaway?
I believe that peace is the byproduct of the entrepreneurial family elevating their arguments about what they're fighting on. So a lot of times the entrepreneur has an unfair advantage because they have so much experience in battling through situations that going head to head with their spouse puts their spouse in a bad position, because how are they going to have the same kind of
Mhm.
experience when they don't go through all the ups and downs and risks and things oftentimes that an entrepreneur does. And so having if we can elevate the argument from the standpoint of the family, and we can elevate the argument of the entrepreneur and be able to share what's really going on in their mind, and the family to be able to share what's going on in their minds, you'll see that it's really getting people to work together instead of against each other. So taking the lessons that are learned, like, use them for good, use them for your family, not against your family.
Mhm.
If you want the let's say the husband to participate in things, if you do it out of guilt, sure, maybe he'll go, but some resentment can grow. What about doing it out of, hey, I love you, and I know you love being with us in this way, and I want you here. I want this for you. And that change in tone, that change in reasoning, that you're not there just so that we show up as a family, but you're there because we know that this is better for you, and we want this for you, and we want to celebrate these things with you. It's a different point of view, and I believe that makes that side's argument much stronger. And so doing things out of guilt, a lot of conduct, becomes suspect when we do things out of guilt. But when we're intentional and like, I want this for you and for us in this way, is a much more powerful argument than this is the third time you missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of content in this particular playlist, like reveals a lot of the pressures us entrepreneurs feel that we aren't able to really articulate in fear of, will I look weak to my wife? Will she think less of me? Will my children, like, so I think entrepreneurs carry a lot of pressure that's buried in us that ends up manifesting in arguments, and I think if we just get better, and that's why I love these videos, they help you maybe articulate better,
Yeah.
that pressure.
Well, that's what it is. Instead of reacting and blowing up, it's and using things against the family, it's like using it for the family. Like, he, this is what I'm facing. This is what's going on, and then allowing them to be empathetic towards your situation and supportive of it, and then but together say, here's what I've got going on. Sure, I understand that, and in this moment, yeah, I agree with you that you need to take care of that, or I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that you look ragged, you look beat up. I don't like seeing you this way. You look unhealthy, and we are going to dinner. And we are leaving your phone. I will hold your phone, right? Like, we're going to let people know, and we're going to make these changes. So I'm giving it as an example because it's this kind of encouragement that we're giving that people are often missing, and it's about being misunderstood. They don't really know what you're going through. They don't A non-entrepreneur doesn't really understand the pressure of everything being on the line and paying the freight for other people's mistakes, and always worried for that the next shoe is gonna drop. There's an incredible amount of pressure there that we can't expect them to understand. But like, how would they? There's no working experience for them to know those kinds of things. And so on the flip side, we usually don't have any experience on the entrepreneur side. We don't see all the efforts of holding the family together and all the inner pressures there. We don't see that the mom is looking at the daughter and the daughter's misbehaving, but if the father's presence was there, that she believes that the father that the child's behavior would change and the girl would fall better in line with what the mom wants and things. So she's not sharing that back to the entrepreneur. So if they can learn and say, hey, you know, I'm not I'm not able to play the dad role and the mom role effectively, and I really need help in this, and this is what I'm facing, this is what's happening with our daughter. Like, these things are powerful, and we just want to give a voice to them and let the family really understand what that entrepreneur is going through, and have the entrepreneur understand their point of view, and together that stronger team will make better decisions for that family. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's great.
In this playlist, Overcoming Society's Misleading Mantras, this is Truth Rot Exposed. You say some ideas sound wise, some ideas feel brave, some ideas even work for a moment, but the ideas that motivate you today can hollow you out tomorrow. That is how truth rot begins, not with deception, with distortion. Truth rot happens when society's favorite mantras drift away from reality.
So many things that motivate us, and it's amazing how just a look or a word or a phrase can give us so much energy, and a lot of people need that energy. I find with entrepreneurs that they have a lot of natural energy, so they don't need a whole lot of motivating
Mhm.
usually. They tend not to be lazy people, but sometimes they need that spark to make the change. And so motivational speeches and motivational sayings and things can be really helpful. And there's a lot of them, and there's some good that they do. However, there's a shadow to them.
Mhm.
And so it might be inspiring to say winners never quit, and while your team is down by 2 touchdowns and we're going to fight through this and we're going to make a comeback and we're going to win, that certainly has a place, and that motivation can work. But if we take the phrases and we examine them deeply, we expose that, wait a minute, if we always operate as in winners never quit, and we create it as an identity, right? Like, I want to identify as a winner, and anything where I don't identify as a winner means that I'm not a winner.
Mhm.
We have to be mindful of that, because if you think about it, to be a real winner, you have to quit, and quit well. You end bad ideas earlier on. You end
Mhm.
bad relationships earlier on. You when things are not going in a direction that's going to give you great insight to learn and be better, you move on and you
Mhm.
do this very quickly. And that doesn't fit the mantra that winners never quit because you could use that argument against it. And so what we're trying to do is bring some prudence to those elements and say, hey, it might be true that winners put in a lot of effort, but there is a time where winners quit and quit fast.
Mhm.
And so let's perfect some of these societal items so that people don't misuse them. We don't want you to misuse this against the balance in your life, the peace in your life, against your family. We want you to use these phrases for yourself. And so much is out there. Motivational speaking, it's for energy, it's to push people forward, it's to trigger action. But if that action takes you further away from your goals, is that really good action?
Mhm.
Like massive action. If you take massive action and you're not pointing in the right direction, is that a good thing? Right? So, in and of itself, massive action is not a good thing.
Mhm.
It's not a bad thing. Is it appropriate? So we have to make sure that we're looking at items for what they really are. And Truth Rot does that, and it's kind of fun because we're poking holes in common mantras so that people can think more about them and refine them so that they can say it in their own words and live it in their own words rather than trying to follow some mantra of some marketing guy that blew up on YouTube.
Mhm.
Uh, with a lot of people saying it.
What's interesting about this whole truth, I love truth rot. Like to me, it's a phenomenal topic and resonates really well on the channel. People love this. And recently there was an article written about you and about the channel. And in that, the author called you a motivational guru. Okay. What's interesting about that is you're absolutely anti motivational guru guy. You are the anti grind guy. And I think what's cool about it is that you're motivating people without the rah-rah bullshit.
Exactly.
So it's the context, your deep context that becomes motivational through truth. It's powerful.
Thank you. Well, that's what it is. I'm not trying to build up your energy by having you match my energy. And come on, guys, we can do like I'm not driving that way. I'm seeing things with a calmness that exposes like this is exciting. We just have to jump in and do it. And am I willing to do that? Am I willing to put in the effort here? When it takes time to refine something. So you can have the basic image of it, but to add the real details that stand out, it takes effort. You really have to be precise, and that's what we're asking people to do. Be more precise with your words. And if you just follow these things loosely, you can hollow yourself out from the inside really quickly with your eyes wide open. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
What is in your opinion, the number one truth rot that just irks you when you hear it?
Well, there's a lot because it's around the person. Whoever's like, so I'd have to look at the person and which one of them which one are they participating in. But the one that I see that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with is the winners never quit, or always give 110%.
Mhm.
Where's the other 10% coming from? I mean, come on. I mean, I was a math major in school, so maybe it bugs me more than it bugs the average guy. But I do like that idea that says, w- instead of saying always give 110%, what about saying, you know, keep the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing, which is a classic. And what I love about it is if we were going to design our business, and let's just say one of your clients is 70% of your revenue, and you've got other clients that are 5% of your revenue, just to take an easy separation. Does the client who provides 70% of your revenue, do they get 70% of your management efforts? And usually the answer is no, almost every business. And let me say it this way, I've never seen a business where they're giving more than 70% to that client. So that means that client that's providing 70% of your revenue is getting less than their proportionate share of your management efforts. Now, if we were to go look at your competitors out of all of your clients, and let's just say they're all equal, they're just different in size, which client would your competitor most likely want to have of yours? And let's just call that the 70%
Mhm.
client. So we're putting less than 70% of our managerial efforts into the client that provides 70% of our revenue, and that is the ideal target on our competitor's radar. Sounds like you're not allocating resources properly to me. And so what we're trying to do here is to say, like, even with truth rot, if you're always giving 110%, like, Where are you pulling it from? How awesome would it be that if the clients that were inconsequential, until they were committed to being inconsequential, they were treated like that. You can't treat them as if they're your number one account, even though this runs counter to what a lot of people say. Now it depends on the business and things. I'm not looking to argue basics. Like I've been successful in business. I know to treat my clients well. I'm not saying the worst possible way of interpreting that. Oh, that's what John's saying. That would be imbecilic. I'm not saying that. But I am saying, are you putting the added resources into what's most important to you? And usually, what's most important to you is getting less than resources. And part of it has to do with some of these mantras. Now that I've said it, and now that I've said, hey, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing, when people talk to you about all the things that they're doing, what are they doing around the main thing? And like, what do you have that's tangible around the main thing? And that reveals a ton. So that's one of the top. And the winners never quit. I don't know. I interact with a lot of adults. I interact with a lot of adults, and the biggest issues I see is that people don't know how to end things well. They don't know how to quit things well. Maybe it's because we were raised as kids that winners never quit. I don't know, but I know that the people that are most successful that I've seen are outstanding at quitting. They probably quit too many things, or they over quit, but they're erring on the side of what's going to work. And I think there's something really honorable in that. And I don't like demonizing quitting. I teach my kids how to quit. It's going to help them live a better life. So with the manifesto movement, what we're looking for are people to articulate their definition of a good person and then activate it. Make as many of their decisions to align with their definition of a good person. And these misleading statements, like the truth rot,
Mhm.
those misleading statements can take them off track. And this is why it's an essential. This truth rot is an essential playlist for us because it brings to light some of the things that lead people astray with their eyes wide open.
All right, so let's move on to this playlist. It's all about leadership under pressure, right? Gaining situational mastery. You say a scattered mind cannot build a settled team.
Mm.
It's a
Yes,
good one.
yes. Well, our audience is a lot of entrepreneurs or people working for entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
and we- we're working on the entrepreneur from the inside out. And they are themselves, and then they're part of a family, they're part of a team. And so, what we're pushing for here is that if you're a leader, we want you to be worth following. And how do we make that happen? And so, there has to be some consistency in your word. Your word must be good. You have to behave as who you are.
Mhm.
No one is looking for an actor up there. They want you to be settled. They want you to know who you are, what you're pursuing, and have those things organized. And so, a scattered mind, if you're all over the place, how do you follow that? Right? It
Mhm.
rarely builds a settled team. It breeds chaos. And so, there's a lot of consistency that people are looking for, order and things like that. And I cause disruption.
Mhm.
That's why I'm not a day-to-day manager. I, the disruption is needed, but I'm not the manager. But the disruption, like if we want to go out there and do amazing things, sometimes we have to jar the team, ourselves, our processes, our activities, everything. And so, uh, making sure that that person who causes disruption is supported with really strong order allows freedom for that to happen. Part of that is how we interact with others. But another part of being a great teammate is being better at the plays,
Mhm.
like better at the items that we need to do. And so this playlist not only has those things that are the interpersonal, but also there's the side of, hey, how do you do this item? So, look, if you wanted to build a personal brand, what are some tactical items that you can do to learn how to do that better? And if you think about how does that help the entrepreneur, not only making them a better teammate, but they're a better teammate as their skills are sharpened. So we use this playlist to do both of those things.
Mhm.
And so we have a bunch of videos that are going to come out just around how to be stronger at accounting, how to be stronger in sales, how to be stronger in marketing. And it fits this playlist because part of strengthening a teammate is tied to their ability, their capability, their insights in a matter, as well as how to manage people, manage through what people are going through. So that makes it more whole for the entrepreneur at work.
Yeah, and I also often hear you talk about in leadership, one of the most crucial components is being you, right? So let's dive into that just a little bit of like, really, what does that mean being you, and how do you get to being you?
Right. Well, So who wants to date someone that doesn't want to date them, right? Who wants to be married to a know-it-all? Who wants to work for a know-it-all? Who wants to be friends with a know-it-all? There's these things that people do to try to be seen a certain way. Like if you a lot of people want to be seen always as having the right answers. But we don't like being with that person. We don't like being around that person. We don't like working for that person. So the idea here is that instead of putting on that mask that you need to be perfect, and that comes from fear of being rejected, right? So why does someone have to be perfect all the time? It's that they're afraid that they're going to be rejected in some way. And so uh, being you, part of being you is to accept yourself as you are, in terms of like this is who I am, these are the priorities that I have, and this is my definition of a good person, and I'm going to try to live it as much as I can. I have to handle my responsibilities. I have to both the ones that I signed up for and the ones that I have inherently. Right there's some societal and familial responsibilities that we have that are just kind of come with it, but our work stuff we signed up for, and we have to handle those responsibilities. And there's an interesting piece there that really causes some discomfort with the home life, because as entrepreneurs, we signed up for things, and then it carries over into our home life, and the family didn't sign up for it. And so, the better we get at understanding what we do in the workplace, and the better we get at understanding our definition of a good person and a successful life, the better we can get all these things to align. And then I can be myself all the time. There is no work John and home John. There's only John. And that piece is really important for people to understand. And we drive through some of those points here in this playlist.
So you bring up a good point. Like, what about those moments when you're not you?
Well, right, that's another item that we address in the playlist, is that we're people, and so we're gonna fall short. Well, first, we're people, and so we're gonna make mistakes. Like, our strategy will never be perfect. It's just our best idea as to what we
Mhm.
should do. And so there's gonna be holes in that strategy. There's holes in our logic. That's gonna be there. Then the other part is that sometimes we're going to just flat out make mistakes, and then other times we're just going to screw up really bad. Where we knew the right thing to do, we did the wrong thing anyway. So all those things are present, and much like in the other sections where we talk about things, especially around the MyOS
Mhm.
system, we dive into some of those things to say, hey, what do you do after you've been a bad teammate? How do you address that? How do you apologize to a teammate, especially if it's a subordinate? How do
Mhm.
you do it in a way that strengthens that relationship? And these, again, are some of the things that we talk about because it's crucial. It's real. We're not going to pretend as if this isn't real, and that entrepreneurs don't face this every day. They do. We just want to empower them to say, it's okay. It's okay that you screwed these things up, but you got to go make it right. And you have to set an example worth imitating. And when you do that, you'll be more at peace with yourself, and the team will be more settled. That's what we're trying to do here.
All right, so this is one of my favorite playlists. This is what I wish I knew. Learn to thrive. You say some things are best learned through experience. Most can be learned through someone else's. That is why this playlist exists. It's pretty good.
What I absolutely love about this playlist is that we're sharing how to thrive. Most of us are taught more to survive. It's like literally just think about all the difficult times and how you should handle them and all that. It's just like just endure one more day. But to
Mhm.
teach someone how to thrive, like how to pursue what you're looking to pursue, how to put effort into the things that matter most to you, how to live. Like I say to my children, do you love me? Yeah, Dad. Then act like it, right? But there's this like, is this what you want? Then act like it. Is this the home life that you want? Then act like it. And so it's like what I wish I knew. So that's teaching someone how to thrive or sharing some ideas on how to thrive. And those run the gamut. So some of them are just quick questions and answers around things. Some of them are a little bit more in depth around. There's a little crossover with one of our other playlists around teaching things on how to do things and stuff. There's some crossover, but the idea here is that there's so many situations that if we had some better insights, we can go from moving from bracing for impact, right, to embracing for impact. And that's what we're trying to do. That's the name of the book too, is that we want to learn to embrace ourselves, embrace who we are, embrace our priorities, embrace our boundaries, and then go win the inner war and live the life that we really want to live. And this playlist absolutely is that. So it's a bunch of different things. There's some funny quips in there. There's a single question and answers. Um, this playlist has this kind of special spot in my heart.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, it first of all, because it puts you in a position where there's nothing scripted. It's questions from viewers. It's questions that Steve and I might be like, wake up in the morning, be like, oh, I'd love to ask John this question. Maybe try to get him a little bit on this one, But it's cool because it gives you that kind of, unbridled response, the opportunity for you not to stay in a boundary of, of a story, but really just like, all right, here it is, John. Today I had this issue. Like, what would you do?
Sure. Well, I like it. And so, like the one around being a stronger teammate and improving someone's skills, we understand why that has to go under leadership under pressure because we got to make these decisions. We got to figure those things out. But if we, a core part of our audience are people that are trying to rebuild or like aspiring entrepreneurs. And so, one of the things that we had was before there was Ask John, and then it was things they didn't teach you in school. And so it's like, okay, they're similar. Like, ask John that this wasn't taught. How do we combine them? And so, what I wish I knew, learning to thrive is a combination of this Ask John and then what what they don't teach aspiring entrepreneurs in school. Here's some things that you need to be prepared for. Here's some things you need to think about. Here's the impact just on family. Like you're a young, let's say you're a young man, you're single, and you want to build a business. Okay, hey, this is a lifelong commitment when you do this if you stay in it, and your family needs to be prepared for that. And the woman that you find, she needs to be prepared for that and what that does and what the dynamics are in the family oftentimes. So you want to do as many things as you can with your eyes wide open.
Yeah.
And this channel kind of gives us the ability to do that. And what's cool is that you get these questions from these aspiring entrepreneurs, the students. It's amazing some of the things they ask. We get people, calling in from all over the country just asking these things. It's super cool.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity for you guys watching to get engaged in the community here. If you have questions, you could post and comment below, and John will literally read every single comment, and we'll respond to you guys.
Hmm.
For sure. I mean, that's one of the great ways of interacting with our audience. And so we've got a lot more polls that we're going to be sending out as well. We like to ask questions. We ask questions in polls in a way that educates you. Just for reading the poll, we want you to be in a better spot than you were before you read it. So
Hmm.
we try to make those things educational, sharing some topics. So when you participate, great. With the response you give us, outstanding. It helps shape what we're going to do, but it also shares insights. So please pay as much attention as you can to the surveys and participate. Add comments. We read every comment. We read every comment, and if there's things that you want us to talk about, pose it. And so long as it fits the criteria of what we're looking to do, we're going to share it. We're not going to talk politics. We're not going to talk taxes. We're not going to talk about taxation without representation. We're not doing that. We're talking about things that are related to the entrepreneur and what's going on in between their ears, along with what's going on within their family, teams, and other things that they're connected to. We're trying to strengthen them from the inside out, and we're going to stick to our topics.